Hey everyone, welcome to this training video. We're going to show how to load a dump truck. So there's a lot of different ways to do that. We have an off-road haul truck out here as well as a smaller track dump truck. But we thought it'd be great to show you kind of some tips and tricks. Again, first and foremost, not an expert. I think I've explained that before. So I'd love to hear your tips, suggestions, things like that. Again, we've already done our pre-op inspections of all of our equipment as well as our site inspection. So we're gonna jump in our Komatsu PC-210 and we're gonna do some loading here. So check this out. I'm in my Komatsu PC-210 excavator. This is not going to be a how to operate that. We've got several of those. If you haven't seen one of those, we'll link to one of those, but we have two different how to operate excavators plus our mini excavator. Now, today we're doing bench loading. So bench loading is basically when you're up in your machine that's loading is up at an incline, up higher. That's ideal, generally, so your boom can stay roughly kind of parallel to it, and you can also see into where you're dumping. That's most of the time how people are going to load dump trucks. As much as you can pull material, if you're trying to move material out, you want to try and get up on an incline and load from that. Obviously, it's not feasible in all situations, so you may have to load from the ground, which is fine too, just it's a little bit tougher because you're going blind. Now, loading the dump truck. We also have the separate video on how to operate a dump truck. So that's another video, how to operate a haul truck. Typically you will try to, you don't ever want to swing over a cab, obviously, for safety reasons. Typically you want to try and get a dump truck to back into you, so you have them longwise. It gives you a little bit easier target there, and you can move the material around in there versus going at it from the side. Again, these are ideal situations that don't always exist. But that's generally what you're shooting for. The operator who is loading is generally the one in control of where that machine's, where that dump truck's going to be. So I can kind of dictate where I want them to stop. So safety needs to be paramount because you're kind of controlling both the operator, my machine, and their machine on placement. So with that said, we're going to go over that. Again, I'm up on a hill here, throttle this thing up. I've got Jake over here in a haul truck. We're actually moving. First thing is just making sure that my site where I want him is pretty well clear. And we've been hauling out of here. Typically, while they're getting ready to back up, you can even grab, in between trucks, you're grabbing a full load. So you're ready to go. So I'm right there. I am in a position so Jake knows I want him over here. So once I raise that up, we're gonna let him get into position. Today we're hauling out with a Komatsu HM-300 loader. Now obviously to communicate, it's all with the horn. So each machine's a little bit different. I'm gonna back him up so he's almost right into where I want him, all the way back to as far as he can go. And I'm just gonna honk once. Now he'll put it in park and wait. I'm gonna go slow on the first one here. It's very important, your first couple of loads, you don't want to drop them up really high. There is a lot of weight, and that damages the machine, the dump truck. So you'd want to try and create a layer. So initially, on your first couple, you're trying to get down a little bit lower, right in the center, and dumping that material right in the center there. Raise that up. And again, we're just going to go off to the side here. Generally, you want to try and be within 45 degrees of where you are dumping. So it's all about efficiency. Getting a full load. And again, I'm still on the first layer here, so I'm trying to dump it a little bit lower. That first layer you get is going to give a little bit more cushion, so you're not going to damage the machine as much. After that, it's all about speed and efficiency. Just taking some good scoops. Now for this load, I'm actually, I am loading, I'm scooping to the left. In an ideal situation, I'll probably switch it up here in a sec just to show you. You notice when I swing left here, I can't see my dump truck as much. So ideally, if you can position that truck or wherever you're swinging so you'll be able to see it out your left window, that's ideal. I usually try to start at the front of them, work your way back. What you want to be really careful is you obviously, when you're digging from the side here, I don't want to get too close. You know, there's, with the tires on the hauler there, the dump truck, you don't want to pull any material into them. You know, you don't want to create any damage there. So that's with my left. I'm going to go ahead and go over to the right, which is really, you know, if I had this situated perfectly, I would want to be digging off of the right here. We're actually dealing with some frozen ground here. Now, load is really how much you're loading into the machine. Is really the operator needs to know capacities. Now, for an off-road haul, this isn't as critical. You know, our site here especially, we're just moving this to the other side, so you definitely don't want to overload the machine, but we're also not talking about road restrictions or anything like that. For a dump truck, depending on the material, there's obviously a limit on the axles on what they can put on the road, so you want to be careful how much you're putting on there. You also don't really want that material to be spilling over the edges there. Again, with ours, we're not being quite so precise because we're not going that far. And then a lot of times you try and flatten it out a little bit depending on the haul truck, especially if it's going on the roadway. You know, you don't want to have a big pile hanging over a big peak there. After I'm done there, just honking once, and that lets us know he's going to be able to pull out. With us, we're running a single haul truck today, so I don't have a ton. We wouldn't have another truck ready right there. If the thing you really want to do in between, it's all about efficiency here. Now, take advantage of the time, even between swapping trucks here, this is your time to clean up. Remember, we don't want to get too close to that haul truck while it's there. So wherever we're trying to load, we can kind of clear out the roadway a little bit, smooth it out. The easier you make it for them to come in, you know, the faster it's going to be in the long run if I can clean out and make a nice parking space where they're able to get in there straight. This is also the time you'd be moving your machine if I needed to, if I ran out of material, and repositioning it. You can see right now I've got a perfect area right there for them to back in. And then it's all about just getting ready for that next load. Take advantage of getting a big load of dirt. Once I have that loaded, this is basically, if I don't have any other more site work, pre-work to get ready, you are basically waiting. So when that haul driver, that loader comes down, he knows generally where he's trying to target to back in that unit. So go ahead and dump this over on the side. So that's how to load a dump truck. Again, we just showed you one example. That's with an off-road haul truck and our PC-210 excavator bench loading. We're not going to go into, there's other, obviously you can use a wheel loader as well to load. Wouldn't necessarily be able to get into a machine, at least our machine probably wouldn't be able to get into off-road haul, but a standard dump truck. So again, excited to hear any feedback, any suggestions you may have. There's a lot of different ways to load trucks there, but obviously safety is key. So thanks a lot for tuning in. Comment below on any questions or feedback you have. Thanks a lot.